Company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, police investigate suspicious death of 37-year-old woman in Corozal amid claims of past domestic violence. Prime Minister John Briceño unveils cabinet appointments for second term, aiming to enhance governance and address national priorities. Minister Thea Garcia Ramirez dismisses favoritism claims. And Belize Coast Guard intercepts Guatemalan military patrol in territorial waters. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, March 17th, 2025.
The New World Screwworm poses a significant threat to livestock, pets, and humans. It can cause severe losses if not controlled quickly. Currently, it is not present in Belize. That is why early detection is crucial to prevent its spread. Let us help to keep it out. Don't bring animals from other countries illegally. If you notice maggots, larvae, or worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text 670-7003. Together we can work to keep our country safe from the New World Screwworm and save animals. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Police in Corozal are tonight investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a young woman in the community of Concepcion. 37-year-old Wendy Mendez died on Friday, March 14th, after being in a coma for several days. Mendez, according to police, was found unconscious days prior on Sunday, March 9th, in the community of Concepcion. Wendy was found with visible signs of violence on her body. Tonight, as police investigations progress, Mendez's death has been ruled a death investigation pending the results of a post-mortem examination.
Then on Sunday, the 9th of March 2025, a report was received that a female was found unconscious at Concepcion Village. She was taken for medical treatment. Thereafter, police visited and saw the victim. She later succumbed to her injuries on Friday. Several interviews are being conducted, and we are trying to determine what happened to her. She was at the hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. She was identified as Wendy Mendez of Concepcion Village.
And while police are not yet ruling this incident a murder, Mendez's family is convinced that their loved one was killed by someone she knew well.
El sábado la encontraron, el domingo en la mañana, esto pasó, el accidente pasó el sábado en la noche, la encontraron el domingo, ella estuvo en el hospital desde el domingo, ella falleció el viernes y hasta ahorita no tenemos respuestas. Está en proceso para entregar el cuerpo, para las investigaciones están ahorita, pero no tenemos ninguna clase de, ¿cómo le puedo decir? No tenemos esa forma de que nos digan, sí, así pasó y así exactamente, y sí, y que el hombre lo agarren, porque él anda escapando, porque lo andan buscando, la policía ya vino aquí en la aldea y no lo encuentran. Y pensamos que porque yo digo, si supuestamente él no hizo nada, que no es él, porque él anda escondido y anda escapando, que dé la cara. Si él no hizo nada, como dicen, ¿quién más lo va a hacer? ¿Quién más si solamente él andaba con ella?
Before her attack, Wendy, according to her family, was seen in the company of a young man whom she had an estranged relationship with and who was known to be violent towards her.
Que no sabemos, pues hay varias personas que miraron, pero también no quieren hablar porque no se quieren meter en problema. Pero como yo le digo a la gente, si hoy ellos hablan, nos ayudan bastante a nosotros especialmente a mi suegra, y le dan una paz que ella necesita en su corazón en estos momentos.
As police investigate the circumstances surrounding Mendez's death, her family is asking anyone with information which can help shed some clarity into her demise to contact the nearest police station.
Y si alguien sabe algo de ayudarnos con alguna información, alguna cámara, nos pueden contactar al 630-7780. Necesitamos pruebas para que esta persona tenga su merecido lo que le hizo a ella, porque no se me hace justo.
Police in Corozal are currently searching for one person for questioning in connection with this latest incident. Of note is that in 2022, Wendy was also involved in a chopping incident where she received various chop wounds to the face and body. In that same incident, her cousin, Juan Arturo Mendez, was killed. Jermaine Zuniga was charged in connection with that incident. As he embarks on his second term, Prime Minister John Briceño has executed a comprehensive reorganization of his cabinet, revamping ministerial portfolios and redistributing pivotal responsibilities. This strategic realignment appears designed to enhance governance efficiency and respond to shifting national priorities. At the helm, Prime Minister Briceño retains his position overseeing finance, but with a refreshed title, Finance, Investment and Economic Transformation, while the portfolio of immigration has been excised and e-governance has been incorporated into his direct oversight. The appointments of ministers of state have also seen notable adjustments as Dolores Balderramos Garcia and Rodwell Ferguson have been appointed as Senior Minister of State and Minister of State, respectively, within the office of the Prime Minister. Additionally, Osmond Martinez will serve as Minister of State for Economic Development. Cordell Hyde continues in his dual capacity as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining, with no altercations to his portfolio. Similarly, Jose Mai remains steadfast as Minister of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise. Julius Espat and Kareem Musa maintained their respective roles as Minister of Infrastructure Development and Housing and Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, reflecting a continuity in leadership within these key sectors. Likewise, Kevin Bernard continues to oversee health affairs as Minister of Health and Wellness. Francis Fonseca has experienced a recalibration of his responsibilities, now focusing on foreign affairs, foreign trade, culture, and immigration, with education, science, and technology removed from his portfolio, signaling a shift in strategic governmental focus. Marconi Leal Jr. has been appointed Minister of State for Foreign Trade, working directly under Fonseca. Oscar Requeñas' transition from Minister of Rural Transformation, Community Development and Local Government and Labor to Minister of Education, Science and Technology marks a significant pivot towards educational reform. Supporting this transition, Ramon Cervantes has been designated as Minister of State for Education, Science and Technology. Dr. Luis Zabani has ascended to a full ministerial role delineated as Minister of Indigenous Constitution, Religious Affairs, and Transport, representing a progressive focus on indigenous rights and transportation infrastructure. In an insightful reorganization, Michelle Shabat's portfolio has transitioned from public affairs, logistics, and e-governance to public utilities, energy, and logistics. Henry Charles Usher has seen his domain expand to encompass public service and governance, and Nemo National Emergency Management Organization, enhancing governmental responsiveness in emergencies. Orlando Habet's portfolio has likewise expanded to include sustainable development, climate change, and solid waste management, with Ramiro Ramirez joining him as Minister of State. Anthony Mahler's responsibilities have broadened to encompass tourism, youth, sports, and diaspora relations, adding a dynamic youth and sports dimension supported by Minister of State Devin Daly. Andre Perez has redefined his purview from blue economy and disaster risk management to blue economy and marine conservation, while Florencio Marin Jr. has transitioned from the national defense and border security to focus on rural transformation, community development, labor, and local government. Oscar Mira was elevated to full Minister of National Defense and Border Security. The cabinet roster also witnesses the introduction of Thea Garcia Ramirez, tasked with the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs, succeeding Dolores Valderramos Garcia. The role of Attorney General will be filled by Anthony Sylvester, while Ambassador Stuart Leslie remains as Cabinet Secretary and the Chief of Staff. And while Prime Minister Brisenius' ministerial appointments reinforces his commitment to innovate and realign government functions in accordance with contemporary needs, positioning his administration to address societal imperatives more effectively as it seeks to navigate the complexities of governance in the current era, some of the installations and removals are raising eyebrows. In the case of newcomer Thea Garcia Ramirez, she obtained a significant ministry role as the Minister of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs, succeeding Dolores Valderramos Garcia. While there are speculations of favoritism, today during the swearing-in of all area representatives, the Prime Minister clarified that this choice was driven by the necessity for gender diversity in his administration.
And I think that as a Prime Minister, you try to make changes and try to find some sort of balance in the cabinet, and that's exactly what I've been doing.
And about Ms. Thea, newcomer and having her own portfolio.
Again, I said I'm trying to find a right balance, and as to Mrs. Garcia Ramirez or Ramirez Garcia, she's a newcomer, she's a woman. We need to have somebody else in the cabinet.
Do you believe that other ministers may feel maybe jealous is the word I want to use, that she would receive such a portfolio in her first time?
I don't think so, because I said we need to have balance. We have to have regional representation. I try to have some kind of ethnic balance and even gender balance, and it's unfortunate that we only have two.
The Prime Minister also responded to criticism regarding the appointment of 3 ministers of state in his government, specifically addressing worries about the apparent exclusion of seasoned ministers like Dolores Valderramos Garcia and Rodwell Ferguson.
Minister Valderramos has been around for a very, very long time, and she was first elected in 1998. She made it very clear that this is her last term, and so I wanted to give her that special recognition and respect for the work that she has done. I have also assigned her. The National AIDS Commission is under the Prime Minister's office, so I'm asking her for her to take special attention with that. Something that she did between 2003 and 2008. She was the special envoy for the National AIDS Commission, and the National Awards Committee, and she also wants to work with the elderly. So I've already mentioned to Minister-elect Thea Garcia, since she has been sworn in, that the Minister Dolores has offered to help, and she happily accepted that.
In the case of Minister Ferguson, the PM says he will be given special tasks.
I put him to work with me simply because I believe that Minister Ferguson has a lot of goodwill, and a lot of people know him, and he gets along with everyone. And so I think that by him working with me, I can put him to special assignments. Hey, there's an issue happening wherever it is. I say, please go and look into it for me, and let's try to settle it, and then he can work directly with me. I think that he can be more effective in that way.
Echoing the words of the Prime Minister today was also Senior Minister of State Honorable Dolores Balderramos Garcia, who says her new position is far from a demotion and she will walk into her new role the same way she has done many times before, with conviction and honor.
That I have served with distinction under the governments of both Said Musa and John Briceño, and I have been privileged to do so. I also want to say that having been in politics for a long, long period of time, I embrace a new role if it is being given, and I will continue to serve to the best of my ability. As you have said, the decision of being a senior Minister of State was the Prime Minister's. I embrace it. I will continue to serve, and I expect that I will be able to carve out some of the role that I will play, And so therefore, at this point, my top priority, and I want to say this with a lot of force and conviction, my top priority is the people of Belize Rural Central, who have re-elected me with an overwhelming mandate. And so that is going to be my top priority.
And while she is open to working with both Minister Thea Garcia and Minister Luis Zabani, who are taking over the portfolios she previously held, Minister Balderramos says she is ready to focus on the role she has been placed to oversee.
I must tell you that I've had a lot of firsts in my career. It's been a long one, and there have been a lot of firsts. I don't want to sound like I'm boasting, but so many things that have been done in this country for our women, for our children, for our human rights, for our families, I have been involved in the past maybe 25, 26 years, So clearly, I would like to be able now to, as I said, help to fashion a role that will help our country going forward.
Would you have wished for more of a senior position, more of a substantive role in a ministry?
No, this is a senior position which I will absolutely embrace.
Although Minister Balderramos says she is not planning to run for another term, Belizeans can expect her to continue working closely with the Briceño administration.
I think that I've done my bit, if you could put it that way, Mind you, I'm not finished. It's in terms of being able to segue into another role that can help the government, and I am delighted and I'm humbled to serve the second administration of John Briceño.
In a significant show of authority, the Belize Coast Guard successfully intercepted a patrol by the Guatemalan Armed Forces GAF within Belizean territorial waters during the early hours of Sunday, March 16th. The unauthorized military operation was detected in the Sapodilla Keys Marine Reserve, alarmingly proximate to Hunting Key. The interception transpired at approximately 7 a.m. following reports of a foreign military vessel navigating perilously close to the shore, less than 2 miles offshore and well within Belize's exclusive maritime zone. In a prompt response, Belize Coast Guard personnel rigorously escorted the Guatemalan forces from Belizean maritime territory, effectively diffusing a potentially escalating situation.
They deployed out, intercepted that vessel, which is only about half mile or so from the forward operating base. We started to communicate with that vessel, informing them that they were inside Belizean waters. The Guatemalan vessel indicated that they had suffered an engine problem and that they were disoriented. That's their reasoning for entering Belizean sea space. Our patrol was firm. They communicated to the Guatemalan vessel that they were indeed inside Belizean waters and that they would be escorted out. The Guatemalan vessel cooperated, and our Coast Guard patrol at that location escorted the Guatemalan vessel south towards Guatemalan sea spaces and watched them as they departed.
Did they at any time refuse to leave? What was the scenario like? Was it tense as in other previous occasions?
No, this one wasn't tense at all. They had acknowledged that they were disoriented, which we find to be very strange, and that they had suffered an engine problem, which there were indicators of them not able to steam the way a vessel of that capacity would be able to steam. So they were somewhat suffering from engine problem, and they did not hesitate. They did not show any signs of aggression. They cooperated, and under the Coast Guard escort, they departed.
While reports indicate that the GAF patrol had inadvertently collided with a reef, Rear Admiral Elton Bennett, Commandant of the Belize Coast Guard BCG, clarified that this information couldn't be confirmed.
Yes, they acknowledged that they were in Belize, and they stated that they were lost and that they had communicated with their headquarters in Puerto Barras, informing them of the location of where they were.
Yeah. Were there any damages to the reef, or that is still being investigated?
We could not confirm if there were any damages to the reef. We do not know if they ran aground inside Belizean sea space. What we do know is that they told us that they had an engine problem. So we cannot confirm if they ran on the reef or where they had run on the reef. So it was one of two engines that they had reportedly damaged. So we can't determine if they did hit the reef at any point.
Were you all able to see the damaged propeller to make sure it did happen?
No, we did not. From our patrol observation, they were moving slowly. They were throttling as a vessel that would have received engine damage would be throttling.
Now, sir, what type of vessel was it? Was it an unusual one, or one that we usually would see when it comes to the GAF?
This is not the larger patrol boats that we would normally see near our sea space or along the maritime border. This was a much smaller vessel. It's interceptor by design and not a patrol boat. It is made from a Metal Shark brand. It carried 6 personnel on board, a much smaller vessel than what we normally would see out there.
Okay, so 6 persons were on board that
Yes.
vessel when it comes to this one.
Yes.
All right.
This incident has catalyzed urgent concerns regarding national security, particularly in the context of ongoing territorial disputes with Guatemala. The nature of the incursion, whether an innocent navigational error or deliberate provocation of Belize's sovereignty, remains ambiguous. However, it is a scenario that deems a protest note, says Bennett.
Definitely, the way these things are handled is that the Coast Guard will forward that information up to the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security. I have been in communication with our minister since then. He has been abreast and he has been given directions accordingly. What the Ministry of National Defense would then do is to pass this information over to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who would then take the lead in managing this issue with Belize and Guatemala. That's the ministry that is charged with handling these disputes along the border. And so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'm sure, would take some action in handing over a protest note to Guatemala, and then look at the details of where the incident occurred, and then try to move from there.
Coming up next, Thea Garcia Ramirez speaks on her ministerial appointment. Stay tuned.
El gusano barrenador del Nuevo Mundo representa una amenaza importante para el ganado, las mascotas y los seres humanos. Puede provocar graves pérdidas si no se controla rápidamente. Actualmente no está presente en Belice. Es por eso que la detección temprana es crucial para evitar su propagación. Ayudemos a mantenerlo fuera. No traiga animales de otros países ilegalmente. Si nota gusaneras en heridas inusuales, infórmelo de inmediato. Llame a Baja al 824-4872 o envíe un mensaje de texto al 670-7003. Juntos podemos trabajar para mantener a nuestro país libre del gusano barrenador del Nuevo Mundo y salvar animales. Este mensaje es presentado por Baja, OIRSA, IICA, USDA y el Ministerio de Agricultura, Seguridad Alimentaria y Empresas.
When it comes to the ministerial appointments announced over the weekend by the Prime Minister, another notable shift was the removal of Francis Fonseca as Minister of Education. That ministry will now be steered by Oscar Requena, with the Ministry of Education being one of the most powerful and well-funded ministries. Today, Prime Minister John Briceño confirmed it was a mutual decision.
Well, from the time that he took over the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the idea was that he would have been the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration. At the time that we did the change was we had already, he was putting a lot of programs in place, reorganizing, restructuring the Ministry of Education. And so basically he wanted to finish that off. And the idea was that at the end of the previous term, that then he would give up that part and then he would just concentrate with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration. Because of that decision, then I had to take on the Ministry of Immigration. I mean, I really have a lot of work, so now I passed that on to him. But he made a request that, again, in the Ministry of Culture, you guys have been following it, a lot of exciting things have been taking place, and he wanted to continue that work, so we passed on the Ministry of Culture to him.
As previously mentioned by Prime Minister John Briceño, newly elected Corozal Bay Area Rep. Thea Garcia Ramirez has been appointed as the new Minister of Human Development, Family Support and Gender Affairs. Her appointment has come with some criticism since Ramirez is a first-time area representative, and there are some in the public eye who feel that other senior members were overlooked to put her in a position. When asked about the selection process and possible favoritism in her accession to the ministry, Ramirez pushed those claims aside and instead says she is ready to rise to the challenge.
I think that the call to serve comes from the Prime Minister. I believe it is his choice, and so you will have to ask him why he chose. But generally, I will tell you that women, we have to work 2-3 times harder than men to get half of the recognition, if we're lucky sometimes. And so I know that my Prime Minister sees me for a hard worker, sees me for somebody who delivers, sees me for somebody that doesn't mind working in the background or in any capacity, which he feels that he needs to put me. I was ready to serve just in my own constituency if that's what he chose. And I think that I'm correct in saying that if he does not feel that I am up to task, then he will ensure that he demotes me as well and puts me where I ought to be. It's not favoritism. I think he chooses and he selects carefully, and he has to take a number of things into consideration: demographics, certainly gender perspectives.
Over from the Ramos says to hit running.
I am humbled. I'm honored to have been chosen by the PM for this huge responsibility. I feel like I am up to the task. I am going to lean heavily on Minister, the Honorable Dolores Valderramos Garcia. She has an infinite amount of energy, of knowledge and energy and passion for the ministry. I like to say she is that ministry, and so I will definitely need her support, her assistance, and I have the special envoy who is ready to hit the ground running with me and work closely together with me. And so I feel that there is a lot of work to do, to continue to do in this second term for the Briceño administration, and I'm going straight over to the ministry to see what needs to get done and to be able to continue the work.
In the first 30 days in the ministry, Minister Garcia says there is a lot to be done, starting with a few key areas which she will be focusing on.
I think in the first term a lot was done by Minister Dolores Valderramos Garcia in terms of revision of legislation, in terms of the gender policy, to push that through. And so I think now it falls to me to work on the processes. There's a lot of feedback from the public, from the customers, that the services are not what they ought to be, or the receiving of the services. And so I think a lot of customer service, and to be able to expand the services to all the districts, to all the towns, to all the municipalities, and ensure that help gets where it needs to be.
This must be.
The Belize Police Department is encountering significant challenges in its pursuit of legal action against 46-year-old Jarod McKay, also known as Jarod, following an incident during the Orange Walk Carnival in September. McKay was convinced of aggravated assault against Commissioner of Police Chester Williams and has reportedly fled to the United States, complicating efforts to serve him with a subpoena. On September 24, 2024, McKay pleaded guilty to assaulting Commissioner Williams, an altercation that occurred after the police chief confronted him about drinking alcohol in public. McKay was subsequently fined $1,505 by Chief Magistrate Jayani Wagadapola. However, the case took a new turn when the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, announced an appeal against the sentence, seeking a more severe penalty for the assault, which has drawn public scrutiny. A hearing for the appeal was set for March 7, 2025, before Justice Derek Sylvester in the High Court. However, the absence of both McKay and the Crown's attorney, Alifa Elrington, left the court in a state of uncertainty. Elrington submitted a letter requesting an adjournment, citing her absence from the country. This situation has further stalled proceedings, as McKay has yet to be served the required subpoena, leaving the legal process in an indefinite state. Commissioner Williams, who has been vocal about his dissatisfaction with McKay's initial sentencing, emphasized that had the incident taken place in the United States, the consequences would have been significantly harsher. Williams noted the troubling implications of the case, particularly given McKay's background as a U.S. Army veteran, raising concerns about accountability in such situations within Belize. As the legal deadlock continues, Justice Sylvester has postponed the case indefinitely until McKay can be located and served with the subpoena. Friday, Tracy Panton was officially sworn in as the leader of the opposition in the House of Representatives, making her the first woman to hold the position. Her appointment came after the United Democratic Party, UDP, lost the March 12th general election, winning only 5 of 31 seats. Panton, who led the Alliance for Democracy faction within the UDP, secured enough support to assume the leadership role. She received the backing from key party members, including Lee Mark Chang and Gadwit Haylock, solidifying her position despite earlier challenges from former leader of the opposition, Moses Shineborough, who lost his seat to Chang in the Mesopotamia division. Today, while he congratulated Panton on her new role, Prime Minister John Briceño told media she has a lot of rebuilding to do.
She has worked hard for that to be where she is, and she deserves it. I know that it's a big deal being the first female leader of the opposition, but that position is not about being a male or female. It's about the competence that you bring to the table. She has a lot of hard work ahead of her in trying to rebuild her party, and I wish her well.
The fact that the opposition now has a female leader does not change the expectations of robust discussions in Parliament with an improved level of discourse, says the PM.
I don't think she would be asking for any kind of special treatment. When she called me, one of the things that she brought up, and both of us agreed to, that we want to improve the level of discourse.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Escape to paradise. Centaur is giving you the chance to win an unforgettable getaway at the breathtaking Orchid Bay Resort. Picture this: a stunning beach and a relaxing poolside retreat. One lucky winner will enjoy an overnight stay for two, plus a delicious breakfast, all courtesy of Orchid Bay Resort. How to enter? Sign up for any Centaur service or stay up to date with your payments for a chance to win. Live raffle draw on April 16th on Despierta Belize show. Enter now to win with Centaur.
Christina Koch has been appointed to serve another 2-year term as a spokesperson for the Toledo Alcaldes Association following her unanimous endorsement through the Assembly of Alcaldes on March 8, 2025. Our Christina is a staunch advocate for land rights. She has spent over 3 decades championing the cause of her people, ensuring that the voices of the Maya communities are heard and respected. Her leadership continues to be instrumental in the ongoing struggle for land tenure and the social justice, the Maya leaders of Southern Belize noted. As we recently celebrated International Women's Day, the Toledo Alcaldes Association, Maya Leaders Alliance, and the Julian Shaw Society extends its deepest gratitude to Christina for her selfless dedication and commitment to the Maya people, they added. Her advocacy is not only a reflection of her personal passion, but also a tribute to the legacy of Julian, whose work continues to inspire generations. Christina's resilience and determination remind us all of the importance of standing firm in the fight for justice, equality, and a dignified future for all Maya communities. President of the Football Federation of Belize, FFB, Sergio Choc, has been re-elected as Vice President for the Central American region on the CONCACAF Council. The announcement came after the recent elections held during the CONCACAF Congress in St. Lucia, highlighting Belize's prominent presence on the international football stage. In his capacity as Vice President, Choc will collaborate with fellow regional football leaders to enhance the sport's profile, develop new opportunities for players and federations, and spearhead key initiatives within the CONCACAF framework. I am deeply honored by this appointment and the trust placed in me by my colleagues, Choc stated, following his re-election. This is a victory for Belizean football and a recognition of the strides we have made. I look forward to continuing our efforts to grow the game at all levels and ensure progress in the region. As Chuck embarks on this next chapter, the FFB is confident that his experience and vision will contribute to a stronger football infrastructure, allowing for greater talent development and enhanced competitive opportunities in the Central American region. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, March 18th here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.